Welcome to SENDiass4BCP's webinar on preparing for adulthood. In today's video, we will be looking at what does preparing for adulthood, or PFA, mean? Annual reviews of an EHCP from Year 9 onwards. When the local authority can cease an EHC plan. The legal duties of the local authority and educational providers. And the legal rights of young people aged 16 and above. And where to access some further support should you need it. Preparing for adulthood depends entirely on the individual, so there are no hard rules. However, the SEND Code of Practice provides some useful examples of what this might be. This could include support to prepare for higher education and/or employment, training options such as supported internships, apprenticeships and traineeships, support in finding a job and learning how to do a job, for example, through work experience opportunities or the use of job coaches, help in understanding any welfare benefits that might be available when in work, preparation for independent living, including where the child or young person wants to live in the future, who they want to live with, and what support they will need. Considering local housing options, including housing benefits and social care support available. Support in maintaining good health in adult life. And support in participating in society. This is a broad category and includes things like understanding how to get about, using transport and benefit options relating to this, and making and maintaining relationships. Annual reviews are an opportunity to discuss with school or college and the local authority what your child or yourself would like to achieve as they grow up. We have a separate webinar on annual reviews which you may find helpful. Young people with special educational needs can be supported up until the age of 25 with an EHC plan. From Year 9 onwards, the local authority must make sure that the annual review meeting considers what provision is required to help your child, or you as a young person, to prepare for adulthood and independent living. This is a legal duty found in the SEND Regulations 2014. In addition, the SEND Code of Practice 2015 states that for teenagers, preparation for adult life needs to be a more explicit element of their planning and support. Discussions about their future should focus on what they want to achieve and the best way to support them to achieve. There may be very good reasons to start planning for adulthood sooner than Year 9, and the SEND Code of Practice states that high aspirations are crucial to success. Discussions about longer-term goals should start early and ideally well before Year 9 at school. They should focus on the child or young person's strengths and capabilities and the outcomes they want to achieve. In accordance with the SEND Code of Practice 2015, planning must be centred around the child or young person and explore their aspirations and abilities, what they want to be able to do when they leave post-16 education or training, and the support they need to achieve their ambitions. Local authorities should make sure that children and young people have the information and help they need to join in fully in planning and making decisions. Transition planning must be built into the revised EHC plan and should result in clear outcomes being agreed that are ambitious and stretching and will prepare young people for adulthood. The SEND Code of Practice 2015 continues to provide that if it is clear that a young person wants to attend a different school, sixth form or college, then that school or college must cooperate so that it can help to shape the EHC plan, help to define the outcomes for that young person, and start developing a post-16 study programme tailored to their needs. There are some key points for annual reviews and transition between school and further education and/or training. That is, that planning is based on the young person's aspirations and abilities and what is needed to support them to achieve their ambition. The EHC plan must fit the child or young person and not the other way round. Young people should be given the help they need to participate and make decisions. Parents and carers need to think about what will help their young people to make decisions when the time comes. Transition planning must be built into the revised EHC plan. Although outcomes will need to be revised, remember that only the contents of sections B and F of an EHC plan can be appealed. It's very important that the transition planning is specified and quantified in section F of the revised plan. The outcomes sought for a young person must be ambitious and stretching and prepare young people for adulthood. This is very important when thinking about education or training for young people aged 19 to 25, where provision tends to be more bespoke. Local authorities must not cease or stop an EHC plan for young people simply because they are aged 18 or over. If you are a young person aged 19 to 25 years old with an EHC plan, you may need longer in education or training in order to achieve your outcomes and make an effective transition into adulthood. This is something else that your local authority must consider during your annual reviews. In accordance with the Children and Families Act 2014, a local authority may cease to maintain an EHC plan for a child or young person only if the authority is no longer responsible for the child or young person, or the authority determines that it is no longer necessary for the plan to be maintained. The circumstances in which it is no longer necessary for an EHC plan to be maintained for a child or young person include where the child or young person no longer requires the special educational provision specified in the plan. For those over the age of 18 years, a local authority must also have regard to whether the educational or training outcomes specified in the plan have been achieved. The SEND Regulations 2014 also provide that a plan should not be ceased because the young person is no longer receiving education or training. The plan should first be reviewed and either ascertain that the young person does not wish to return to education or training, or that it would not be appropriate for them to do so. An EHC plan must not be ceased immediately. The child's parent or the young person must first be notified that the local authority are considering ceasing the plan. You must then be consulted on this, along with the head teacher or principal of the setting named in the EHC plan. If it is deemed necessary to cease the plan, then notification must be sent, but the plan must continue until your appeal rights have expired, or it has been determined at the SEND tribunal. You will find more information on ceasing a plan on our website. We also have a series of appeals and tribunals webinars which you may also find useful, including the mediation and appeals process. Local authorities have a range of duties in regard to preparing for adulthood. They are, when carrying out their functions, to support and involve the child and his or her parent, or the young person, and to have regard to their views, wishes, and feelings. This includes their aspirations for adult life. To offer advice and information directly to children and young people. This includes information and advice which supports children and young people to prepare for adult life. Together with health services, to make joint commissioning arrangements about the education, health and care provision of children and young people to secure positive adult outcomes for young people with SEND. To keep education and care provision under review, including the duty to consult young people directly, and to consult schools, colleges and other post-16 providers. to cooperate with further education colleges, sixth form colleges, 16 to 19 academies and independent specialist colleges approved under Section 41 of the Children and Families Act 2014. To include in the local offer provision which will help children and young people prepare for adulthood and independent living. To consider the need for EHC needs assessments. Prepare EHC plans where needed, and maintain and review them, including the duty to ensure that all reviews of EHC plans from Year 9, age 13 to 14, onwards include a focus on preparing for adulthood, and for 19 to 25-year-olds to have regard to whether educational or training outcomes specified in the EHC plan have been achieved. To make young people aware through their local offer the kind of support available to them in higher education, and where a higher education place has been confirmed for a young person with an EHC plan, to pass a copy of the EHC plan to the relevant institution and to the assessor for disabled students allowance with the young person's permission. Educational providers should have high aspirations about employment and independent living. Community participation should be developed through the curriculum and extracurricular provision. Schools should seek partnerships with employment services, businesses, housing agencies, disability organisations, and arts and sports groups to help children understand what is available to them as they get older and what it is possible for them to achieve. For children and young people with EHC plans, discussions about post-16 options will be part of the Preparing for Adulthood focus of EHC plan reviews, which must be included as part of the review from Year 9. Schools and colleges must cooperate with the local authority in these reviews. If it is clear that a young person wants to attend a different school or sixth form or college, then that school or college must cooperate so that it can help shape the EHC plan, help to define the outcomes for that young person, and start developing a post-16 study programme tailored to their needs. Schools and colleges should work in partnership to provide opportunities such as taster courses, link programs and mentoring, which enable young people with SEND to familiarise themselves with the college environment and to gain some experience of college life and study. This can include, for example, visits and taster days, so that young people can become familiar with the size of the college and how their studies will be structured, including how many days a week their programme covers. This will enable them to make more informed choices and help them make a good transition into college life. School and colleges should agree a tell us once approach so that families and young people do not have to repeat the same information unnecessarily. All students aged 16 to 19 and where they will have an EHC plan up to the age of 25, should follow a coherent study programme which provides stretch and progression and enables them to achieve the best possible outcomes in adult life. Schools and colleges are expected to design study programmes which enable students to progress to a higher level of study than their prior attainment, take rigorous, substantial qualifications, study English and maths, participate in meaningful work experience and non-qualification activity. They should not be repeating learning they have already completed successfully. For students who are not taking qualifications, their study programs should focus on high-quality work experience and on non-qualification activity which prepares them well for employment, independent living, being healthy adults and participating in society. Maintained schools and pupil referral units have a statutory duty under Section 42A of the Education Act 1997 to ensure pupils from Year 8 until Year 13 are provided with independent careers guidance. Academies, including 16 to 19 academies, and free schools are subject to this duty through their funding agreements. Further education colleges also have equivalent requirements in their funding agreements. Their duty applies for all students up to and including age 18 and will apply to 19 to 25-year-olds with EHC plans. Under statutory guidance accompanying the autism strategy, SEN coordinators should inform young people with autism of their right to a community care assessment and their parents of the right to a carer's assessment. This should be built into preparing for adulthood review meetings and those with EHC plans. As stated within the SEND Code of Practice 2015, as young people develop and increasingly form their own views, they should be involved more and more closely in decisions about their own future. After compulsory school age, the end of the academic year in which they turn 16, the right to make requests and decisions under the Children and Families Act 2014 applies to them directly, rather than to their parents. Parents or other family members can continue to support young people in making decisions or act on their behalf, provided that the young person is happy for them to do so, and it is likely that parents will remain closely involved in the great majority of cases. The specific decision-making rights about EHC plans which apply to young people directly from the end of compulsory school age are the right to request an assessment for an EHC plan, which they can do at any time up to their 25th birthday, the right to make representations about the content of their EHC plan, the right to request that a particular institution is named in their EHC plan, the right to request a personal budget for elements of an EHC plan, and the right to appeal to the first-tier tribunal, SEN and Disability, about decisions concerning their EHC plan. Local authorities, schools, colleges, health services and other agencies should continue to involve parents in discussions about the young person's future. In focusing discussions around the individual young person, they should support that young person to communicate their needs and aspirations and to make decisions which are most likely to lead to good outcomes for them, involving the family in most cases. A decision by a young person in respect of an EHC plan will typically involve discussion with their family and others, but the final decision rests with the young person. A young person can ask a family member or friend to support them in any way they wish, including, for example, receiving correspondence on their behalf, filling in forms, attending meetings, making phone calls, and helping them to make decisions. Local authorities and other agencies working with young people should work flexibly to accommodate these arrangements. They should also be flexible about accommodating any changing in those arrangements over time, since the nature of the family's involvement may alter as the young person becomes older and more independent. If you require any further support with preparing for adulthood, you can visit our website at SENDiass4BCP.org, where you'll find lots of free resources to support you. You can email us at help@sendiass4bcp.org, or you can contact our advice line, open Monday to Thursday, 9:30 till 12:30 p.m.